Good morning, everybody. Thank you. That was pretty good. I'm Tom Turner with the Nashville Downtown Partnership, and on behalf of the partnership and the Nashville Chamber of Commerce, thanks for coming out today. I'm going to rewind just about 5 years. This building was closed. Many other neighboring businesses downtown were closed, and those throughout the city as well. Now, Wild Horse worked around the clock. That's 24 hours a day, and successfully reopened just before the CMA Music Festival, which is the city's signature event and plays throughout the year on television. It's a big deal. So now we're going to fast forward to today, and we're here at the same Wild Horse, and it's because we support the continued implementation of the Unified Flood Preparedness Plan. And we support that throughout the city, not just downtown. And we support the specific components downtown that are being considered in the capital improvements budget that's now before the Metro Council. So downtown is a neighborhood, and it's the neighborhood that occupies a little bit less than 0.5% of the city of Nashville. And it's the neighborhood that's home to about 7,500 people and growing, about 55,000 employees and growing. And it's the neighborhood that welcomes more than 12 million visitors every year. And it's the neighborhood that we all share. Also, downtown Nashville is a tax generator for Davidson County. 5.4% of all property taxes collected in the county come from downtown. 18.7% of all sales tax collected in the county comes from downtown. And those taxes fund services countywide, not just for one neighborhood. Again, downtown is a neighborhood we all share. So yes, we support the citywide unified flood preparedness plan, and how that plan's implementation has already begun throughout the city, helped many, and we support continuing funding of the downtown component that is being considered now as part of the mayor's capital improvement budget. And now, it's my honor and my pleasure to introduce the mayor of Nashville, Carl Dean.
Well, thank you, Tom, and thank you all for being here today. As I said in a column that ran in the Tennessean yesterday, the sad news and stunning images that came out of Houston's recent flood reminds us all of the devastation that flood can thrust upon a city. We all know that feeling too well. No one wants to go through another flood like the one we experienced in 2010. If we ever do see that much rainfall again, we want to protect our citizens, their homes, and their businesses. We have spent a lot of time and a lot of money over the past 5 years protecting neighborhoods around the city. In the Delray Drive area of West Nashville, for example, Metro government acquired 61 properties for more than $5.7 million, tore them down, and developed England Park, which is a green space that helps soak up excess water during any flood. In the Pennington Bend area in Donaldson, the city spent nearly $7.6 million to buy and demolish 34 properties and to take them out of harm's way. And in the West Hamilton area of Bordeaux, Metro acquired and raised 49 structures for $5.2 million. Investments like these, funded with the help of the state and federal government, along with stormwater fees paid by taxpayers across our city, have enhanced public safety while also making neighborhoods more enjoyable. And we're not done making that kind of investment all over the city. Let me stress, we are nowhere near to being done. We are blessed to have a water source system like the Cumberland River and its tributaries, but that comes with a duty to manage it responsibly. Now it's time to invest in protecting another important neighborhood, downtown Nashville. Both the Unified Flood Preparedness Plan and the SoBRO Master Plan proposed a flood protection system for downtown. This $100 million project includes a $13 million flood wall and a $65 million stormwater pumping station that would shield downtown from a flood even worse than the one we saw in 2010. Downtown isn't just the place where tourists have fun and people from all over Middle Tennessee go to work. It is the cultural heart and economic engine of Nashville, and it helps pay for a lot of things we're able to do throughout our city. So protecting downtown isn't about pitting one area against another. Downtown is everyone's neighborhood, and everyone has an interest in its success, because downtown success helps make every other neighborhood better. Please encourage Metro Council members to support this flood protection system, and feel free to remind them that back in 2010, we didn't say, we are Donaldson, or we are Antioch, or we are Bellevue. We said, we are Nashville, and we still are and always will be. We're one city of people who look out for each other and work to keep each other safe. While another flood of the magnitude we saw in 2010 might not seem likely, the northern part of our city experienced a 500-year flood in August 2013. While the flood event saw more water because it was confined to one part of our city, it didn't get the same level of attention. Protecting downtown is simply the responsible thing to do to keep our city safe. It would be irresponsible not to do this when we know the technology will work. I see the cost of this project as an insurance policy. We pay a premium each year to protect our city against having to pay the much higher costs that another major flood would bring. We know we can afford it without raising water and sewer rates or taking funds away from other worthy stormwater projects in our city. It's the right thing to do, and this is the right time to do it. I was mayor when downtown flooded, and I want to start building a system that will prevent a repeat before my time in office is up. I'm not interested in kicking the can down the road, and I hope that members of the Metro Council who serve our city's residents so well during the 2010 flood will join me in protecting the core of the city. I want to thank all of the speakers you'll be hearing from today and the others who are here in support of this important flood prevention project. I want to thank the Greater Tennessee chapter of Associated Builders and Contractors. Bob Pitts is with us. NES is with us. Charles Starks from the Music City Center is here. Skankska and Joey Hatch. Scott Potter with Metro Water. Jeannie Nelson from the Land Trust. And Jennifer Westerholm from the Urban Green Lab, and Butch Spearden from our Convention and Visitors Bureau. Together, we can keep Nashville strong. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Mac McDonald. Mac?
Thank you, Mayor. One of the things that, as I sit here looking out these windows, a lot of us in this room remember when right over here to my right there was a sand pit and a gravel pit. Now there's a big stadium. Right behind us, we used to watch the barges being floated into the river, which was quite a sight to see. And we used to drive over the Shelby Street Bridge. So you could see that Nashville has undergone a lot of growth, but that growth has been done because of the vision of the leaders of Nashville. Since Metro was established, we've had, I think Mayor Dean is our 6th mayor since Metro has been established. We've had strong leadership in the mayor's office. We've had strong leadership in the council, and that's what we're really asking the council to do this week and beyond, which is to provide the leadership, share the vision that we've had that's propelled Nashville really in such a great fashion since Metro was established, but especially since the 80s when I first came here. It was very interesting to remember that in the 80s, most people didn't come downtown. They walk around 2nd Avenue and Broadway during the daytime, but they didn't typically come down here at night. Fortunately for us, we had a lot of people that shared the vision that some of us did downtown when we created a nonprofit called the District down here to encourage people to think about the possibilities. And that's really what we're thinking about today. Think about the possibilities of how a flood protection system and all of its four parts will work together to enhance the enjoyability, the livability, and the workability of downtown. So as we sit here today looking at the opportunities that we have before us, I can recall, unfortunately, some pain. I brought with me the chronology of the flood of 2010 that the Tennessean put together. It's a great piece that chronicled the events of the flood. The yellow tabs are my house, my former house. One of the things that I decided to do back in early 2009 and 2010 was to convert a recording studio into my downtown residence. So I labored hard for about 9 months, and 3.5 weeks after my wife and I moved into our downtown house, we got flooded out. One of the things that was impressive on me pretty early was how you can't fight Mother Nature unless you really have the right tools. We had 12 pumps going on one side of the building. We had big 3-inch trash pumps pumping water out the other side of the building. We calculated we did about 800,000 gallons of water pumping out of our building just to keep the water level to 3 feet, which was necessary to protect the electrical vault in our building. Once we went through 48 hours of that and recovered since, we spent close to $800,000 just cleaning up, repairing, and putting our building back online. We were fortunate because we were down towards this end of the street where the water levels did not reach the height that they actually did down here. So we were very fortunate to get our building back online. But from and after that point, we have really not done anything to the bottom of our building other than storage and the work product that we typically do down there. So we did not move back down there, unfortunately. One of the things that impressed me, though, in this whole episode was how Nashville worked together. And as the mayor said, nobody said, I'm from Bellevue, but I'm down here to help you. We had people from Bellevue helping us. We had people down here helping the people in Bellevue in particular. We had Vanderbilt Divinity students who literally dropped what they were doing in the middle of their finals, came down and actually moved some of my furniture up to the upper levels of the Pilcher building. So one of the things that I was talking to Ellen about earlier is that Robin Roberts' mother said, out of every mess there's a message. And the message that I got out of my mess was that Nashville always has worked together. Nashville always will work together. And Nashville has a vision that we all want to participate in. And I remember when I was working with Gary Hawkins and Kim and some of the other people when we started the nonprofit called the District a number of years ago, we put down 3 words on a piece of paper. It said, live, work, and play. Back then, it was literally words on a piece of paper because there was really not what you see today. There was not a stadium. There was not a big new convention center. There was not a lot of hospitality industry here. But now, thanks to the work of a lot of people in this room, those words, live, work, and play, are a reality. And we have ourselves to pat on the back for that, but we also know that we have a continuing responsibility to future generations to preserve this important asset downtown, which is our neighborhood, but it's also Nashville's neighborhood, and it's also the heart and soul of Nashville. So from my particular standpoint, when you think about all of the assets that we have here, look at the hospitality industry, the restaurants, the museums, all of the things that contribute to a real vital and actually nationally and internationally known industry. Right now we got the strongest hospitality industry in the country. And that's probably not going to change anytime soon thanks to all the efforts of people in this room. But what we've got to do, though, is continue to look at what we can do to protect this asset. And one of the things that we can do, obviously, is to be personally aware of what you can do to prepare when major rain events occur. and realize that rainwater is a problem, storm water is a problem, just like river water is a problem. And that's why I think this 4-part plan that's been proposed will address these issues. And that's why we need to protect what we have down here, what we love so much. Thank you very much. And now I'd like to introduce Frank True.
Thank you. I'm a lifelong resident of Donaldson. Lived there all my life. I live in a house that my father built in 1957. I've seen floods come and go. I remember the 72 flood that flooded Opryland. I have served 9 years as the president of Lincoln Hills Neighborhood Association, which is located right along the mouth of the Cumberland and Stones River. And I continue there as a board member. I'm also the president of HIP Donaldson for the past 4 years. In May of 2010, the flood devastated Davidson County. The nation watched as first responders, citizens, and our community leaders and our city leaders responded to this disaster. I'm really proud of the way our officials responded. I'm going to reiterate what's been heard over and over at this press conference, and that we didn't hear, we are Donaldson, we are Bellevue. We always heard and saw on Facebook posts, millions of them probably, we are Nashville. And I, for one, support this project because I think it's important, like everyone said today, that we protect the downtown investments that we have. Metro spent millions of dollars buying out homes and creating greenways, as the mayor said, further mitigating flood damage downstream. Water will not be pushed back into Donaldson or into the East Bank. I'm completely comfortable with that plan. I'm completely comfortable with Donaldson getting just 1/16 of an inch more water in a major flood because of the way this flood wall will be projected. I urge your support of this project, which Mayor Dean has said is simply an insurance policy this city really needs. Now I'd like to introduce Ellen Lehman with the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee.
You know, the kids don't believe something really happens unless there's a t-shirt. Yes, thank you, ladies. At the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee in 2000, in the wake of the 1998 tornado, we asked a group of nonprofits to come together to create a plan for coordinated, collaborative disaster response in partnership with Metro government. That system is what helped this community get back on our feet in record time after the 2010 flood. When we built it, however, we hoped we'd never need it. As a community, we can't stop all disasters. What we can do is ease their aftermath. We're here today to encourage and support flood mitigation. We can't stop floods. They've been occurring throughout Nashville's history, but we can work to dampen their capacity to cause lasting harm. Our greatest tool in disaster response, and every day, however, is that we are Nashville. In 2010, we are Nashville. In 2015, we are Nashville. That hasn't changed. In 2010, as you've heard people say today, it wasn't We Are Bellevue competing with We Are Donaldson, it was We Are Nashville. From Hamilton Road to Mill Creek to the Nations, it was We Are Nashville. When people gave money, it wasn't we want the money to go to our neighborhood. When people gave time and volunteered, it wasn't we want to only help people who live near us. People made sandwiches, got in their cars, and scoured the affected neighborhoods looking for people who were hungry. We got out of our cars. We got out of our comfort zones to help. People gave concerts, charged $1 a dance at a wedding in Knoxville, had a kick-a-thon in Ohio, sent us money, and a new American rode the bus to empty his pockets for his new neighbors. In the years since, Every time we've had a big rain, we've worried about our neighbors' houses, the very ones we helped rebuild. We worried about them flooding again. And I, for one, sometimes think of Henry Ford, who said, if you always do what you've always done, you're always going to get what you've already gotten, what you've always gotten. We were Nashville then. We are Nashville now. We have to do everything in our power to remain Nashville forever. And as we reflect on our good fortune in being able to harness the power of We Are Nashville, to restore lives and to rebuild our community, we must think of communities like Houston and Austin, where they weren't fortunate enough to put in place systems that they would be able to call on immediately today. Fortunately, as I've said, we can't stop disasters, but sometimes when we build things we hope we'll never use, they come in handy. Thanks. Ralph Schultz.
That concludes the inspirational part of the program. Yeah. My name is Ralph Schultz. I'm CEO of the Nashville Area Chamber, and I am excited to be here today on behalf of Davidson County businesses and the tens of thousands of people who have jobs in downtown to encourage the Metro Council to adopt the capital improvement budget with the downtown plan included. This is a very significant move for our local economy, and we really see this as jobs protection. You know, a couple things about jobs, particularly as communities suffer disasters, and one of those is that for every individual household, for them to be able to recover from the damage that occurs in these kinds of circumstances, they need to have a job. They need to have a way to continue their income and to fund their own individual recovery. And concentrated in this downtown area in a way that is not concentrated anywhere else. Tom mentioned the numbers earlier. You have tens of thousands of jobs that people throughout Davidson County are dependent on. You know, when this river leaves its banks, it doesn't just affect those businesses who are flooded with the water. It affects the utilities that support those businesses. It affects transportation routes and ways that people get to and from jobs. The Chamber did not suffer water damage, but we were dislocated from our operation for 2 weeks simply because of the access to key features such as utilities and transportation access. So floods can affect a community for a long time. Now let's think about jobs for a second. Tom mentioned 55,000 jobs located in this area, 7,000 downtown residents. That means that there are 48,000 jobs that are filled from someplace other than downtown. People are dependent on these jobs for their individual household income. When you think in terms of, if you look at the sustained disaster coverage that is occurring in Houston right at this moment, think about that sustained disaster coverage as it projects to the world what is available to Nashville from a tourism perspective after a flood. Hundreds of thousands of people decide whether to come to Nashville or not to come to Nashville based on that kind of coverage. Hundreds of or tens of thousands of jobs are affected by those hundreds of thousands that are deciding to come here for a tourist experience or not. So we see this flood protection system as a really crucial element to maintaining the integrity of the economic epicenter of the Davidson County area and maintaining those jobs. This boils down to every individual household throughout Davidson County because we're all affected by a flood that hits downtown Nashville. So we are very pleased, very proud, as the mayor said, to do the right thing and to ask the Metro Council to pass this measure to protect the integrity of the jobs that occur in downtown, not only for the businesses down here, but for their constituents who also work in the downtown area. And I do want to mention that Kyle Young from the Country Music Hall of Fame has also entered the event here. So Kyle, thank you for being here. And I'm the last speaker. So we are adjourned, but if the media would like to talk to anyone here that spoke, everyone will be available here for a minute. Thanks for coming, and thanks for supporting this job center and this economic center of Davidson County.